The What's Eating You podcast is a series of mental health topics that are designed to make you think, learn, educate, and validate. Enjoy the show. It is Freestyle Friday, and welcome to another episode of the What is Eating You podcast. My goodness, do I have a lot to update you on. First of all, thank you for being here. I hope you're in a good space this morning, and if you're not, I hope the day gets better for you. I'm actually on the way to the airport again. I'm going to Adelaide for a christening and some family friend time, which will be exciting. But I'm always so hectic the morning of going to the airport. I don't know why. I don't know if I just need to feel stressed out. I don't know if it's because I'm not packing the night before. I'm not sure if I stress about the luggage allowance. But now we're on the way and it is fine. It is absolutely fine. I've got my partner with me today who may give us some input on today's scenario. So I've got a bit of a sticky situation that I'm going to share with you all, and I would love to know your opinion and what you think. So let's give a warm welcome to the driver of the day. It is my partner. Say hello.
Hello, how are you?
He usually stays behind the camera, so he's a little bit not shy, but he's just not a big social media person. So he just wants to chill out. All right, so today's message comes from Instagram, and I've received consent to share this message, and I'm going to go into it, and hopefully this keeps recording. Now, this person has messaged me and said, "Hi, I've just come across your page. I'm having issues with my partner. He has issues with photos I have on my Instagram that were up before we were together. The photos are 6 years old. He thinks I have quote unquote bait out to encourage other men. I have never cheated or done anything to make him think I would be doing it. I have put him first in so many ways in my life, even meaning putting myself last. The conversations we have had about this, I just don't know what to say because I don't even post the same types of photos anymore, and he's still concerned about these old photos and men seeing them. He has said he doesn't want to seem like he's controlling me and make me take them down. But this seems to be the only thing that could stop the fight going over and over like this. Am I in the wrong for keeping these up?" Wow. What's your... You know what's funny? I can't exactly relate to this, but I can a little bit. So in past relationships, my social media was never an issue, but when we would go to restaurants or cafes that I was collaborating with, there was always a source of frustration, like, "Oh, can't we just eat the food? Do you have to take another photo?" You know, and it made me feel bad. And I would say, you know what? You're here, you're eating for free, pipe down, and this is what I do, this is what I love. Or even when I take the camera out, it wasn't a direct response, but it was a snide remark or a look or like, "Oh, here we go again," or "Are you going to film that?" or "Are you going to take your photo out, your camera out?" And thankfully enough, I don't really have people like that in my life anymore. People may think it, but I think now we're in a day and age where it is so normal to take your phone out, even if you're not a blogger, even if you're not on social media, and take photos of food. But this, I think, is a little bit different. So I have had a little squeeze. This girl's profile is on private, but I can see that she is a personal trainer and she looks really fit. She looks healthy. She looks happy from the profile pic. I'm just making a judgment call here. But the profile is on private. So it's not even there for everyone to see unless they follow her, and she's in the health and fitness industry. Now, when you hear something like this, I guess the question is, should you alter your social media for your partner? Babe, what are your initial thoughts when you heard this scenario? Why did you laugh?
I don't think it's very common. I mean, I'm not on social media too much, but you see it very commonly that when people get into a relationship, usually they do like a cleanup of their Instagram. You can tell straight away because they've cleaned up all their photos. And then when they break up with somebody, it's the same thing too. You see all the photos of them and their partner all gone. So I don't know. I just think it's, from a guy's perspective, if you got insecurities, I think that's what would be triggering you to go and ask her to take them down. But if you don't have any insecurities, why would it bother you for?
That is such a wise point, because when we first met, I know you did a little bit of a cleanup of your Facebook and not to make this about you or anything, but you did clean up your Facebook, but you wanted to. You're like, you know what, I'm meeting your parents. Maybe these like photos of me partying in Europe in 2011 with no top and an eyebrow ring aren't really appropriate, but you have changed. You don't, have that piercing anymore, and you're not putting topless photos. Not that I would have an issue with that. I'd be like, go babe, go. But it's interesting. So you think it's an insecurity coming from the guy?
What's the difference if she goes to the beach and she takes a photo or she takes a video in her bikinis? What's the difference? Why would that be acceptable? But photos or something, unless it's completely, inappropriate, where she's either half naked, like naked or something like that, then I'd say okay. But from a bikini or anything above that, well, I don't see there being an issue.
I would have to agree. I honestly think when you go into a relationship, you need to know exactly what your values are, what your standards are, and what you will and will not tolerate. And for me, when I went into this new relationship, I was so clear on the fact that I wanted someone to accept my social media life, to be part of it if they wanted to, but most of all, not to bag me or criticize me or not want me to put photos up on social media. And that's what happened. I was very clear from the get-go. This is what I do. I take photos. Food might get cold. And it's the deal. And now he just knows the camera eats first. But I think it sounds like she said these photos are 6 years old. So obviously they've been there from before the relationship when they got together. And even though he hasn't told her to take them down, it sounds like he's wanting her to make that decision. He's wanting her to take them down for him. I'd be curious to know what the conversations are around this. Like, what is it about the photos that bother him? She said it's bait. It's bait for other men. Do you think if you've got a private Instagram and you're putting photos, it's bait?
No, I don't think it's bait. I mean, I think it's positive that she has got her account set to private, so not any guy can just go in there and check it out. But yeah, I mean, if she's got it on private and she's got friends that are doing inappropriate things or writing inappropriate things to her, then she has to make that decision to either remove them as friends or. But yeah, I don't see there anything wrong with what she's got. I wouldn't, from a guy's perspective, for me anyway. But I don't see anything wrong with it. The only reason you'd ask her to take it down is insecurity issues for sure.
And that's the thing. If he's relying on her to manage his insecurity, then where does it end? Is it photos on Instagram? Is it then going to be when you go out, what you wear? I think the issue is when the problem is within the other person, you cannot fix that. You can mitigate the anxiety, you can mitigate what you post, but it doesn't matter who this guy's going to be with. It doesn't matter. Deep down, his belief might be men might think you're available. Men might think that, you're luring them in. And so what? If someone thinks that, that's not your problem. I do believe there is a line. Like, obviously, if you're putting potential OnlyFans content out there or you're putting provocative photos for the goal of having someone buy your subscription or buy something you're selling, whether it's a bikini, etc., that's very different. But I think it really comes down to intention. What is your intention behind posting the photos? And to be honest, a lot of people post photos to get that positive validation. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's positive. Like if you put a photo and your friend's like, woo, go queen, a fire emoji. I don't think there is an issue with that. But my question is, when you were posting this content, what exactly does he think is going to happen? Does he think if you don't put any photos out that no guys are going to ever message you? Because my understanding is people are going to message you regardless of what you've got on social media, regardless of what's out there. You're going to have some people in your inbox who are either a sugar daddy or want some foot pics, and you don't even have to be this Instagram influencer or anyone to get those kind of photos. So I would be asking a lot of questions around, is this girl happy? Is she happy in this relationship? If she needed to take the photos down to minimize any conflict in the relationship, is she okay with that? Because deep down, I really believe this is something I always come back to, and it is how someone responds to your feelings tells you everything about that person. So if you were genuinely upset that this guy is upset that you have these photos, how does he respond to how you feel about it? If you're like, I've had these photos for 6 years, they've never been an issue. What is the problem? Does he care about how you feel in this situation? Because I'll probably be quite hurt. Like if you told me to take Instagram photos down, maybe where I was in a bikini or I don't know, you didn't like, I would actually be quite surprised, but I would also feel quite hurt and upset. What about you? If I wanted you to take photos down of, I don't know, tops, I put photos up of you topless. It's just different. If a girl wanted you to take your photos down from your social media, how would you respond to that?
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't take them down. No way. To me, it's not just that. It's also a trust issue. Obviously, she doesn't trust me, or she's concerned that I might do something wrong, which raises more red flags. But unless you had a really valid reason, like, I don't know. The only really thing I can think of from either perspective is a religious thing. Maybe I know some religions, are mindful of how you dress and so forth, or family. There's a lot of, she's got a lot of family friends on there or something like that might find it offensive. But like even then, just be yourself. Like, I don't know. I just can't find a valid reason to say, yeah, okay, I agree with you, take it down.
You've actually hit the nail on the head. It's not even an Instagram issue, it's a trust issue. Because even she said, I've never done anything, I've never cheated, etc. And then she did write on and she said, it's been a sore subject for a while and I don't feel like I've done anything wrong. He just has this very skewed view on this and I feel crazy and have been second guessing myself. All right, that's a red flag. If you are starting to think you are crazy and second guessing yourself, that is definitely a red flag in a relationship. And I agree that it is a trust issue. And he'll probably twist it and say, oh, I just don't trust other men. But if he trusts you, then it shouldn't matter. Because even if a guy messages you or reaches out or is like, hey, likes your photo, if he fully trusts you and loves you and knows that you're fine, then what is the issue? And I think the fact it's never been resolved means that he's probably not happy with the conclusion you've both come to, which is you are not taking them down. What I'm hearing and what I'm thinking is that he's wanting you to say, okay, I'll take them down. But I just think that is enabling. I think that's perpetuating insecurity. I think it's enabling some sort of subtle coercive control because it's interesting. He says, I'm not being controlling, but is that because he has been called controlling in the past? So I would be asking him, past relationships, has this happened before? Has he been called controlling? And when I talk about coercive control, obviously that's an extreme form of coercive control. And this is when people subtly take control. They might put you down. They might monitor your activities and your movements in real life on social media. They might isolate you from your family and friends. They might control how much money you have and what you spend, etc. So I don't know how long you've been together for, but I think this is definitely something you need to ask yourself. You need to say, am I okay to be in a relationship with someone who has a trust issue, who does not trust me, who doesn't like what I'm posting on social media? How come you don't think that about my photos? Like I do post sometimes in a bikini or I'll post, certain pictures. Do you ever think, oh my God, like she's putting bait out there and guys are going to message her? Because mine's on public. Mine is on public, so anyone can see my photos.
No, if there's something I've learned from my previous relationships is that you can't change people and you shouldn't change people. If you don't love the person for who they are and what they're about, then you shouldn't be in a relationship. You shouldn't be trying to change things about them. So I just let you do your thing, and whatever makes you happy, it makes you happy. If it fills your cup, that's great. And obviously there's limits to that. But yeah, social media these days, my God, like seeing a girl in a bikini is, it's like seeing a girl fully dressed. Like, no, nothing out of the ordinary. So no, I just let you do what you need to do. And if anything happens, or if anything does happen from that, then that's your problem, not mine.
That's so nice. Thank you. Thank you for trusting me and supporting me. But I think it's because I've made you feel that you can trust me and support me. If there was any drama, if there were guys and etc., we would talk about it, we'd communicate about it. But I think having a strong base on security, safety and trust is what is super important. And when you've got security, safety and trust, you're not going to be worried about Instagram. You see, I'm just thinking of particular dynamics or friends where they haven't had that security, safety and trust, and they do take Instagram very seriously. They check the followers, they check how many likes that their partner gets, they check their partner's activity, they log into their devices, etc. And again, you wouldn't be doing that if you had a secure sense of safety, because I just want to also validate, it is really common. I see clients all the time who talk about this sort of thing, about getting paranoid and checking who their partners are following, who they're unfollowing, their activity.
That's such a red flag. I'd never be in a relationship if that ever occurred.
If I wanted to look through your phone, would you let me?
No, I'll let you look through it, but most likely if you said that to me, then obviously you're trying to say that I'm obviously doing something. So yeah, go through it. But most of the times, if you're trying to find something, you're going to find something that you're going to take out of context, or you're just going to pick on it. So yeah, I would never be in a relationship where someone says, "Can I go through your phone?" or find them in looking through your phone, or trying to do stuff like that. No way.
Going through people's phone is such a touchy topic, and it's all off. You had nothing to hide, then why wouldn't you care? But then it's, why do you want to go through my phone in the first place? I'd have no issues. Go through my phone. Where you think you might find stuff is not. My journal is probably where you'd find the most intimate details. But
it's not even about go through my phone. There's nothing wrong. It's why you want to go through the person's phone. It says a lot about. Yeah, it's obviously a trust issue, insecurity issue, unless you've heard something, or someone's come to you and said, "Hey, I saw your boyfriend with another girl on the weekend," or something like that. Then, even then you wouldn't go through the phone. You just confront them. But yeah, I don't know. It's a touchy subject. But I would just personally would never be in a relationship with somebody who felt the need to go through my phone or check my social media, or pulling me up on, why are you liking this, or why are you liking that, or why are you friends with this person. Life's too short for that shit.
there was just this one time I saw you liked Kim Kardashian's photo, and I was like, what? What is happening? But that's okay. I think a celebrity is different. And it would have been maybe an old like. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember. I still like friends and that photos now. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's the whole point of social media. Like, otherwise, why would you be on social media if you're going to get upset about that?
Oh my God, I didn't know you and Kim Kardashian were friends. That's so cool. Nah, just kidding. Yeah, I think it's such a touchy subject, but I think the key is the issue lies with the beholder of the insecurity. If you are checking the followers, if you are checking the social media, there is an insecurity there. But I want to validate that you're insecure for a reason. Either you've dated people who have misused your trust, you've dated people who have cheated, and it's created this schema or belief that everyone I date will cheat on me, or everyone I date is dodgy. And the thing is, when you look for stuff, you are going to find it. So I think for this person who sent this message, I would really reflect on, what are your expectations in a relationship? What are your standards? Are you okay with this? How far are you willing to go with it? Are you willing to remove your photos and pander to the third person in the room, i.e. being his insecurity, because it doesn't stop there. You're going to travel, you're going to be away, people are going to look at you, etc. So red flag. But thank you so much for submitting this question. I really appreciate it. If you've got a question, send it to me on Instagram or on social media. Just give me your permission to speak about it. And on that note, the podcast awards are out. So there is an Australian podcast voting system where you can vote for a podcast, and I'm going to pop the link below, and I would love to have your vote. So all you got to do is search What's Eating You, Stephanie Georgia, my name, and then you can click to vote for the podcast. Now, what's your one advice when it comes to relationships? Because you've obviously experienced your own relationships before we got together. What's your one thing you've learned or one piece of advice?
It's definitely don't ever get into a relationship with the intent on changing the person. If you don't like the person for who they are from the start, every aspect of them, then you're never ever going to change that person. They're always going to revert back at some point to who they are, and they might change for a little bit. They might change for 3 months, 6 months, 10 months, but there's nothing worse than getting with somebody thinking that, hey, I don't like this about them. I might see if I can change that, but I love everything else about them. And it doesn't work.
I love that. And that's why you don't try to make me a super neat person, because you know I'm just messy. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate it. I'm excited for Radelaide. And we're just dropping the dog off to the kennel now. He's doing well. Thank you everyone for asking. I might do another episode on that because, gosh, pets are a whole other field. But thank you everyone. Have the best weekend, and I will see you in the next episode.